The little dog went to the wolf clan stronghold to fetch some goods. He hadn't expected to be harassed there. Terrified, he ran for his life, chased closely by a hungry wolf. At the very last moment, because of a misstep, he fell and was caught. The wolf opened his bloody jaws wide at him. The little dog struggled with all his might, but still ended up being bitten. Then he jolted awake, thrashing wildly at the air around him. A moment later, he realized it had only been a dream. Climbing out of bed, his body shifted back into human form. This nightmare had begun a few days ago, ever since the man-eating wolf suddenly started showing concern for him. That day in the casino, Xicheng was, as usual, serving food to the guests. Just then, a man beside him turned to look at him. "How old are you?" "Not bad looking." "Have you ever played games with men?" Hearing these questions, Xicheng wanted to curse out loud. When the man invited him to stay behind and have some fun, Xicheng flatly refused, saying he didn't provide that kind of service. Another man then spoke up. "Don't you smell a trace of puppy scent?" At that, Xicheng froze, his fists clenching. He wanted to punch them. What puppy scent? I've transformed perfectly into human form. One of them suddenly placed a hand on his butt. "Don't worry, my tastes are fixed." "I'm not like him." Then he said something even more outrageous. Xicheng snapped. He grabbed a stack of chips and threw them straight at the man's face. Seeing his reaction, the Wolf Clan man only smiled. The commotion instantly drew everyone's attention. Xicheng slowly realized he had just gotten himself into trouble again. Later, his boss called him in. "Xicheng, you need to hold your temper while working." Xicheng, fuming, grabbed a glass of liquor and downed it. "Brother, I don't want to work here anymore." The boss tried to comfort him. "It's just because you're good looking. They tease you to stir up the atmosphere. Look, your ears are showing again." Xicheng snapped back. "What if someone touches your ass? Should I just sit still? Besides, I'm a fighting dog." At that moment, a man walked over. "Why are you drinking so much? Trying to kill yourself?" Xicheng frowned. "You know me." The man shook his head. "No." Xicheng was about to retort rudely when his boss suddenly stomped on his foot, signaling him to shut up. Then, with a respectful smile, the boss said to the man, "The dog clan can handle liquor just fine." The man reached out and patted Xicheng on the head. "Really? Then drink in moderation. It's bad for your health." And with that, he left. Xicheng thought, this guy is insane. The boss asked, "That man at the table earlier, Yunji Young, do you know him?" Xicheng, annoyed, replied, "No, don't know him." The boss warned, "Be careful with that wolf. There are rumors he even eats his own kind." At the time, Xicheng thought he'd never cross paths with him again. But a few days later, while resting, he had taken on his puppy form and was dozing on the sofa. Half asleep, he suddenly felt someone approaching. Opening his eyes, he saw a man gazing at him. It was Yunji Young, looking down with a fond smile. Xicheng was startled. What's going on?" In the next moment, Yunji Young scooped him up. Xicheng struggled frantically. "Let me go! Put me down!" Yunji Young licked his lips, eyes glinting as if savoring a delicacy. Too cute. Then he ran his tongue across Xicheng's cheek. Xicheng panicked. This man is completely crazy. Later, he told his boss about it. "So you just fainted?" the boss asked. "Yes," Xicheng admitted. The boss chuckled. "That's hardly harassment." "He only said you're cute." Xicheng flared up. "He buried his face in my stomach and blew hot air all over me," the boss replied. "But he paid off the money you owed for beating that guy. And now, for some reason, he even sent a gift. Sweet potato jerky, dog's favorite." Xicheng barked furiously. "Am I a dog?" "I don't need that." The boss ignored him, ripped open the package and shoved the jerky into his mouth. "Eat." He chewed reluctantly. Xicheng thought, he won't discover who I really am, right? Or, maybe, Just like the rumors say, he intends to eat me. The thought of Yoon Ji-young's expression made him shudder. He asked the boss, "Does he know I'm a dog, and that's why he's bullying me?" The boss replied, "Impossible. How would he know? You've hidden it too well." Shi-chung thought about it and felt reassured. That day, the boss handed him an address. "Go fetch something from this place." Shi-chung glanced at it. "Taichung Construction? Isn't that where Yoon Ji-young works?" The boss nodded. "Yeah, the thirsty are. Wolves never deliver properly and always push people around." Shi-chung frowned. "You know that, and you still send me? That's a wolf den." For a long time, the casino had traded with the Wolf Clan for illegal goods. There had also been cases of transporters suddenly disappearing. That's why they needed someone reliable like Shi-cheng. Though reluctant, Shi-cheng finally agreed. Because he couldn't turn down the only brother who had taken him in. As he walked away, the boss called after him. "Shi-cheng, after this job, let's quit the business altogether." Shi-cheng turned, eyes wide. "Really?" "Yes. My debts are almost cleared. This will be the last time." Hearing that, Shi-cheng was overjoyed. Soon, he arrived at the Wolf Clan's headquarters. The wolves, proud of their bloodline, had amassed immense wealth through their physical strength and solidarity, dominating the upper class of beast society. Behind them stood none other than the construction company where Yoon Ji-young worked. Upstairs, Shi-chung grew tense, keeping his helmet on as the guard stared at him with strange looks. Irritated, he muttered, "What are you staring at?" The guards smirked at each other, knocked on the door, and entered once given permission. Shi-chung stepped inside. "I'm here to pick up the goods." But he froze. Standing there was Yoon's Ji-young. At his feet lay a man in a pool of blood, seemingly dead. Yoon Ji-young spoke calmly. "We meet again. Not happy to see me? Still hiding under that helmet?" Shi-chung reluctantly removed it. With a teasing tone, Yoon Ji-young said, "We're old acquaintances now. Won't show me your face, won't listen to me. How heartbreaking." Trying to ease the tension, Shi-chung forced a laugh. "I'm very happy to see you." That made Yoon Ji-young chuckle. "Really? You're here for the package, right? Take it." On the floor, the bodyguard pushed over a heavy bag. From its weight, Shi-chung guessed it must be worth tens of millions of won. "Come, take it," Yoon Ji-young said. Shi-chung reached out reluctantly, the stench in the room unbearable. "Just grab it and get out fast." But the next moment, Yoon Ji-young yanked him forward. His expression darkened, tongue sliding across his own hand. Shi-chung bristled instantly, fur standing on end. Without thinking, he threw a punch. Only after landing, it did he realize he'd caused trouble once again. Clearly, he was a dog who should have been treated as a person. Yet here he was, being kept like someone's pet. What a miserable fate! Right after throwing his punch, Shi-chung was pinned down by Yoon Ji-young's bodyguards. Yoon Ji-young took a slow breath to calm himself. Shi-chung had hit harder than he'd expected. One of the guards asked what they should do with him. To their surprise, Yoon Ji-young simply said, "Let him go. He came as a guest. Shouldn't we send our guest off properly?" At that, the guards released him. But Shi-chung remained crouched on the floor, trembling. He'd seen scenes like this plenty of times in the casino, but now he was alone, facing it himself. Yoon Ji-young suddenly stepped forward, grabbed him by the head, and forced him to look up. "Well then, see you next time." When his breathing finally steadied, Shi-chung snatched up the package from the floor and hurried downstairs. He almost felt relieved that he had been let off so easily. What a disaster today had been. But how was he supposed to explain this to his brother? Just then, footsteps sounded behind him. A group was approaching. Before he could turn around to check, something heavy smashed against the back of his head. Furious, Shi-chung grabbed a stone from the ground, ready to fight back, but his attackers dodged easily. "What the hell do you guys want?" he shouted. When he refused to cooperate, they decided to teach him a lesson. One of them plunged a dagger into his thigh. Pain ripped through him, and Xicheng collapsed. The blows rained down, fists, kicks, yet he never stopped guarding his stomach. One of the thugs with yellow-dyed hair noticed. "Something's hidden there!" He snatched the package from Xicheng's arms and ordered his men to retreat. "No, I can't let this happen." His brother had entrusted him with that package. If he failed, he'd be as good as dead. But his strength was draining, his consciousness fading. He couldn't risk reverting to his true form. Not here. At last, his body betrayed him. He shifted back into the small dog he really was. The street lamp above flickered weakly as he stumbled through blurred thoughts. He remembered his brother's words before he left. "This is the last time." His leg throbbed. It hurt so much. Then, footsteps. Someone was coming. That voice. It sounded familiar. Young stopped in his tracks. "What's this filthy little dog?" he muttered, reaching down and lifting Xicheng up by the scruff. Xicheng struggled desperately, but his body was drained of all strength. Still, he glared up at him, seething inside. Young chuckled, brushing a hand gently over his ears. "The only reason I didn't lay hands on you before was because you're too beautiful." And with that, Xicheng's world went dark. Warmth. That was the first thing he felt. Then came the sharp, sterile smell of medicine. His eyes snapped open. No, this wasn't good. Hospitals were expensive for animals. He looked around. Where was he? Before he could figure it out, voices drifted over. That patient seems to be waking up. And then, Young's voice, right by his ear. "Awake already!" Xicheng's blood boiled. What the hell is this supposed to be? Young only smiled, his tone unbearably gentle. "Go back to sleep." Xicheng growled low in his OI's throat, ready to bite. Then realization struck. Wait, did he bring me to his house? The doctor continued his examination, explaining. The patient is very small. Surgery would be extremely risky. Fortunately, no organs were damaged. Recovery should be fairly quick. Young let out a quiet sigh of relief, but then the doctor frowned. There's another issue. This little dog's body shows almost no detectable sex hormones. It's difficult to determine whether it's a beastman or just a normal. Dog! Xicheng froze. What? Impossible. Every beastman produced hormones hundreds of times stronger than normal animals. That was how people told them apart. So why? Sadness welled in his chest. He'd never gone to a hospital before. How could he have known? Was this why he'd always felt different? Young cut in smoothly. That's not a problem. Don't worry. Then he bent down, gaze soft, almost tender. Just focus on getting better. For Xicheng, it was frustrating, yet maybe this was a small blessing in disguise. If Young didn't realize he was Xicheng, maybe things wouldn't spiral further. Night fell. To his annoyance, he found himself sharing the same bed as Young. Seriously? Even when I'm injured, I have to stay here. This is the wolf's den. I can't let my guard down. He watched as Young curled up next to him, bare-skinned, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. You need proper rest if you want to recover quickly, he murmured, nuzzling into Xicheng's belly. Sleeping with you feels right. This lunatic, Xicheng thought bitterly. The first empty, hollow morning passed. Over the next days, Xicheng studied the layout of the house, plotting escape routes. But for now, his injuries kept him still. One sneeze later, his nose sprayed right into Young's face. The man only grinned stupidly, unbothered. Even your snot's cute, pervert, Xicheng thought, speechless. He was even brought along to Young's office. At work, an assistant reported, the casino contacted us. They're looking for Xicheng. The dog's ears perked instantly. Me? My brother must be looking for me. But the assistant clarified. I mean the dog man who came last time to collect goods. Young's lips curved. Ah, the one who punched me in the face. Shicheng stiffened, sneaking a nervous glance up at him. Yoon-ji-young only ruffled his fur. If they find him, bring him straight to me. He owes me a blood debt. Hearing those words, Shicheng's heart plummeted. So, he really hasn't forgotten. If I slip up, I'm next. His tail curled up tight in fear. Yoon-ji-young tilted his head. Why's your tail curled like that? Shut up! Shicheng barked furiously. Yoon-ji-young simply gestured. His assistant handed him something. A red sweet. Potato treat. He dangled it teasingly in front of the little dog. Shicheng's rage boiled. This bastard really thinks I'm just a pet dog. Still, he bit down on the treat and chewed, face full of reluctant humiliation. His brother had always told him, bend when you have to. It's smart to endure. Shameful as it was, right now, that was his only choice. And the treat really was delicious. Brother, as long as I don't get eaten by this wolf, I'll find my way back to you soon. Because of the language barrier, Yoon-ji-young never really understood what the little dog meant. He thought maybe the dog just wanted a kiss. To work in the casino, he had to thoroughly understand the traits of different beastman customers. Cat-type beastmen cared a lot about cleanliness and liked to play alone. Fox-type beastmen thought themselves clever, so they always wanted to join the games of beastmen they thought were stupider. Wolf-type beastmen were sly and violent, and on top of that, they had terrifying unity. If you caught one, the rest would swarm in at once. That's why you must never go against them. Always go along with them. Not long ago, Shicheng also believed beastmen were bound by their nature. No exceptions. Until he met Yoon-ji-young. Watching Ji-young staring at him again, Shicheng felt troubled. Ji-young didn't understand why he always looked so fierce. I gave you snacks. Can't you give me a kiss in return? Shicheng barked. At him furiously. Don't bother me. But Ji-young looked delighted. Really, that happy. Shicheng was speechless. Whenever there was even the slightest chance, Shicheng always thought about escaping. But Ji-young never left him alone. He brought him everywhere. Was this some kind of new surveillance method? When they got home, Ji-young sat on the couch, petting the little dog. The more I think about it, the stranger it is. Who would abandon such a cute pup? Hearing that, Shicheng was furious and bit him hard. I was not abandoned, Ji-young asked softly. Are you angry? He set him down, rummaged around, and pulled out a snake-shaped toy. Here, a toy for you. Don't be mad anymore. Shicheng was shocked. He really wanted to curse at him. Ji-young added, It's new, but maybe I should wash it before you play with it. He headed to wash it, while Shicheng fumed behind him. After calming down a bit, Shicheng came up with an idea. Seeing the pup obediently squatting beside the washing machine, Ji-young smiled warmly. Then he suddenly noticed, along with the toy, his own earphones were spinning in the wash. As punishment, Ji-young took the pup out with him for a meal. The waiter frowned. Pets aren't allowed here. Ji-young immediately stuffed the little dog into his pocket. How about now? The staff, helpless, led them into a private room. A man was already waiting. Ji-young asked why he'd called him out. The man smiled. My treat today. Let's go to the casino run by the dog folk. At the word casino, Shicheng's ears perked. Up! The voice sounded familiar. The man said he was looking for someone. Recently, that person hadn't shown up at the casino. I even heard his name, Shicheng. Shicheng froze. Why was this guy looking for him? Noticing the commotion in his pocket, Ji-young asked, Want to come out? He pulled him out, and the moment Shicheng saw the man, he recognized him instantly. It was Hyun Ji-hyuk, the one who'd once made those absurd demands of him. Brother had told him before that Hyun Ji-hyuk's family was nearly ruined, but still, better not provoke him. Yet seeing him here made Shicheng's blood boil. Hyun Ji-hyuk frowned. Where did you get this pup? Ji Young replied. He's mine. He's not a beast man, right? Just a dog? Of course, but this little guy's got quite the temper. The pup barked at him non-stop. So Ji Young carried him right up to Hyun-ji-hyuk's face. You hate him, don't you? The pup shook violently. Ji Young continued. Then do you want to eat him? Or play with him like a toy? Should I put a leash on him so you can walk him yourself? Ji-chung shuddered. The look in Ji Young's eyes was wrong. Very wrong. Hyun-ji-hyuk snapped. What? Nonsense are you talking about? But before he could finish, Ji Young grabbed him by the hair. Even Hyun-ji-hyuk was starting to get angry. There's a limit to jokes, you know. Ji Young glanced at the pup, shaking his head frantically. Not interested? He murmured, finally letting go. How boring. I thought Hyun's name would be all over the news soon. Didn't you bring something to show me today? Guess I came for nothing. Hyun-ji-hyuk scowled. What do you mean? What happened to my father? Just then, the pup noticed a steaming bowl of soup in front of him. He darted forward and flipped. Side over. The hot broth splashed all over Hyun-ji-hyuk, making him jump up with a scream. Hot! Damn it! Ji Young quickly scooped the pup up. Are you okay? You spilled it on him, huh? Good job. Ji-chung froze. At the casino, his brother always told him to endure, to keep calm. But here, Ji Young was praising him. Hyun-ji-hyuk roared. What the hell do you mean by that? Answer me, you bastard! Ji Young had originally intended to just leave, but now he was provoked. He stuffed the pup back into his pocket. What comes next isn't for you to see. Stay in there. Even though Ji-chung wanted to watch, he was shoved inside. Still, he could hear the screams outside. Later in the car, Ji Young asked, How did I do? Ji-chung thought about what had happened. He'd made trouble, yet instead of being scolded, someone stood up for him. For the first time. Why did you pour the soup there anyway? Are you interested in his parts? Mine's bigger, you know. Ji-chung nearly exploded. I wasn't trying to look, and I don't want to know. If I return to human form, the first thing I'll do is sew your mouth shut. They spent another week at Ji Young's house. Though he was annoying, Ji Young's careful care made the days unexpectedly comfortable. But there was a problem. Ji-chung's ears itched badly, and he couldn't scratch them like usual with his hind legs. So he bit Ji Young's pants and gestured at his ears. Ji Young tilted his head. Want a hug? He picked him up. The pup shook his head. A kiss, then? No, not that either. Language was the biggest barrier. Even among beastmen of the same race, when they returned to animal form, they could communicate somewhat. But dogs and wolves, it was like two foreigners speaking different tongues. So Ji Young asked his dogfolk assistant, Young Bae, What's he saying? Ji-chung's eyes lit up with hope. He scratched his ear desperately, signaling for help. The assistant paused, then said, He wants you to touch his ears. Ji-chung almost collapsed on the spot. Ji Young lifted him up. You want me to touch your ears? Our pup likes ear rubs, huh? Ji-chung was speechless. He missed his brother so much. Looking into the pup's ear, Ji Young frowned. Could it be inflamed? The assistant answered. I think he just wants them cleaned. Ji-chung perked up. Finally. He understood. Ji Young gathered the tools and carefully cleaned his ears. You have to stay by my side forever, okay? I'll always clean them for you. Ji-chung lay against him, eyes half closed in pleasure. Afterwards, Ji Young trimmed his nails, brushed his fur. His technique was shockingly skilled. He's practically an expert, Ji-chung thought. When it was all done, Ji Young brought him his favorite sweet potato treats. Watching his back, Ji-chung realized, since he started working, he had never been cared for so thoroughly. This was the first time. But he quickly shook his head. No, don't be swayed. This wasn't his home. Later, Ji Young asked his assistant, No other groups are messing with our territory, right? The assistant confirmed. Ji Young set down his tablet. Then why was he fighting on our turf? The assistant replied, According to investigations, it seems related to the mayor of the Dog Folks Casino. Ji-young sighed.
So, what should we do?
Our little pup will be sad otherwise.